11?
I think it's 11.
11. Kelven and I are here, the usual duo, discussing playoff systems for all sports. See where it goes. I would normally say what we're going to talk about, but who knows. Mainly it started with because the college playoff rankings were just released. So I guess we'll start off with that because it's so fresh. I think it would be easily fixed with 8 teams or 6 teams like the NFL and do the top 2 get a bye.
Right.
I think that would be a little easier than just the 4 teams because I actually saw a good point the other day. It's a 4-team playoff, but you have 5 power conferences. So if you win your conference championship, one of them is going to be left out. No matter what.
Exactly.
So I think that you can't do a 5-team playoff. That
yeah.
Okay. So I think we discussed it too in the college. How it would fit. Yeah. I think 4 teams is just too little.
Obviously, especially with the outlash, as one of those teams that thinks that they deserve, especially since there's no real exact science to it. It's picking these teams.
That's another thing too. Yeah.
And especially this year, this year was kind of more of an anomaly because this is the first year where where a conference champion did not make it, got in over a non-conference champion got over a conference champion, and Alabama getting over a 2-loss Ohio State. I think it's interesting. It's tough because they just kind of, I think they kind of half-assed the playoffs. They're everybody's all right, we need the playoff. We hit the computers, and then it's still really not an exact science to getting all this down. I think they're just all right, let's just try 4 teams out as a sample size, and they're seeing that it's tough because it's such a backlash to it because one of those teams is going to get left out.
And that's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
If you go to 8 teams, the 9th team is going to be left out.
Right, exactly. I think the most you can go is 8. Honestly.
Oh yeah, you can't go more than 8.
You can't go more than that, especially in such a physical sport when it comes to football. I mean, it's tough. Even the thought of me thinking of doing a play-in game. I was thinking of doing a 5-6, like a 4-5. Whomever's there, kind of what MLB does with the wild card is a play-in game, or what the college basketball does with that play-in game as well. Yeah, exactly. Which we discussed about that, how we don't like that, about how there's an 11 seed in there and everything like that. But yeah, I think it would make sense. It would be wise to add more teams in there. I know it's going to be tough just because of the TV contract that they signed when they initially did it.
Yeah.
So that's where the holdup is right now. But when that contract is up, I don't know when it is up.
Who knows when it's up?
So I think when that's finally up, when it's run its course, I think they're definitely going to need to evaluate how many teams they put in. Especially what you brought up was talking about having all five of the conference champs in, and then 3 at large bids. So then that's the case in this one. Then you go the conference champs. So you go Clemson, Georgia, USC, Ohio State, and then you have the 3 at larges. Oklahoma, yeah. So then you have 3 at larges. So then what you go with, this year I think you would go with Central Florida. I would put them in there just as part of the conversation
because they won the conference.
Right.
They look like a good team.
Right.
They might get blown out of the water by
whomever they play. Yeah.
Georgia, but it's still.
But you still put them in there. So yeah, exactly. You say you give one of the whomever is this. If there is a ranked team, like this year you had Central Florida. Last year you had Western Michigan. If there is a team like that from a small conference that's undefeated and is a high ranked, high seeded team, I think it makes sense that you put somebody in there like that.
They have and they win their conference championship.
Yeah, obviously they're unbeaten at this point.
Yeah,
like Western Michigan was unbeaten last year. Central Florida was unbeaten this year. I just think it makes sense to at least give it a try. Like I said, you don't know that they're going to get blown in necessarily. I mean, they very much could.
They could, or you can have a Boise State.
Right, exactly. Who upsets Oklahoma, Yeah. So then I think the at-large bids will be so you have the 5 conference champions. Then you have Central Florida this year, Alabama this year.
If you go 8 teams, then you have Alabama.
I guess and then you would argue between Wisconsin and Auburn then. Auburn's a 3-loss team, so I don't think that you put a 3-loss team over a 1-loss Wisconsin team.
No. Yeah. Wisconsin didn't look good, and Kelvin, you called it. They did lose, and they didn't look. I didn't see some of that game.
Yeah, I mean the final score ended up being close, but
that's one of those things that he scored garbage time.
Right, exactly. And like I said, they lost by but it was 27-21, so they lost by 6. So I mean, it wasn't so. What I mean, they were when I first saw it was 21. It was 21-3 or 21-0 at one point.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of hard. I mean, like I said, like they hadn't really played a whole lot of people, like really a lot of talented teams this year. But I still think you got to give them a shot. I mean, listen, as a one-loss team,
you know,
right? Exactly. I mean,
I said that weird. Maybe they rebound. Put the accent on.
So
wrong end of the word there.
So, like I said, I think it's interesting to it'd be interesting to upgrade it up to 8 teams, just because I mean, there's, like I said, one of those teams is going to get left out if like I said, a lot of argument, a lot of debate was behind this year, just because a lot of people were like, oh well, Ohio State won the conference champion, so it was a conference champion, so like they automatically should get in, and then the argument was, well, they lost they had 2 games, and both of them were by 15 plus points. It's not like they lost a close game to Oklahoma, and it's not like and they just refused to show up at all against Iowa. And then you go, like Alabama only has 1 loss, and they didn't win the conference champion.
They didn't even make it.
They didn't even make the conference champion.
I think that's why this year is so odd, because I don't know who else you put in with the 4 teams besides those 2. Yeah. But at the same time, it's hard for me to accept Alabama going in when they didn't even make their conference championship.
Right.
But I think that also falls to scheduling too, because like they were 11-1, and Alabama was 10-2.
No, vice versa. Alabama was 11-1 and Ohio State was 10-2.
No, I was talking about the SEC.
Oh yeah.
Auburn.
Yeah,
Auburn made it over Alabama.
Right.
Yeah, Auburn made it over Alabama to clinch the West.
Yes.
But they had a
2
worse
losses.
record.
Yes.
Which is, college football is the only.
Yeah, exactly. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense too,
Like the Phillies aren't going to go in if they have like 10 more losses than the Braves or the Nationals.
Yeah.
But because they beat the Nationals,
then
they get in. Yeah. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Because of swept the season series,
Yeah.
And like I said, that, I mean, it's especially.
That's how it should be mathematically. They should be like, because I was reading what's his name, Joel Klatt from Fox.
Okay.
He was on The Herd yesterday, and I saw a clip of him. I like him. I think he has some good points. But he said that conference championships should get in, and because it puts more pressure on winning in the conference. Like, if you get in, like the past 2, maybe even 3 years, I forget what happened 3 years ago. You don't have a conference chance. Like, if you don't win or even make it, why should you jump the teams that did?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
like I said, there's a whole lot of issues that lie beneath like the whole playoff system.
And I feel like it's such an easy fix.
Yes.
If you add to, like, I was looking at my calendar on here on the laptop. You have the Army-Navy game / Heisman.
Yes.
If you choose the playoff last Saturday, like championship weekend, okay, then you have 2 weeks until the next weekend, and you could do the 8 teams play that weekend.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 weeks off again for Christmas / holidays, and then the semifinals are on the 1st this year. So just keep it on the 1st and the national championship.
And the national championship, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think that makes sense too.
Yeah,
like
you have so much room between championship weekend and
so you don't cram because there's so many games, because you have the New Year's 6 games, then on top of that, then you have like other smaller but still pretty decent bowl games on the 1st, like on January 1st too, like the Outback Bowl. Like I know Michigan, South Carolina plays in that this year. So like those are 2 bitty exactly again after the last one where Jadavion Clowney destroyed poor Vincent Shaw or Vincent Smith, I should say. And basically cemented his status as a first overall draft pick. But like I said, I mean, and then on top of that, it's just interesting. I don't know. It that makes a whole lot of sense to do it in that fashion, because you have small bowl games that not really anybody really cares about. If you have the 8-team playoff, then you get games that people are actually invested in, people are interested in, closer to around Christmas. So that's awesome. So like that's always a very favorable position to be in, is like putting good games on that people want to see, especially when they have time off and that they have the time to see. You think around Christmas and stuff like that, that's probably a good time to play. Like Christmas Eve, I think you put those games on.
Yeah, because most people are just chilling and doing Christmas stuff.
And then I guess you didn't have like a full week after that, a week plus after that, to then do it on New Year's 1st on first of January, and then you have like the round of 4, and then the semifinals that you say, and then like the next week, the 8th or whatever, how they usually do it is then. I mean, it just makes sense. Honestly, it really just, like, I think it's that simple.
I think with with this system, though, I think they wanted to do 4 teams just to see how it worked.
Yeah.
The BCS was there for so long.
Right, exactly. Which is a very horrible system. But the problem is, like, it's not like the NCAA is completely new to a playoff system, you know? I mean, literally every other sport, every other level of college football does it. Yeah. Down to D3 all the way to 1AA. Everybody's done it for years. And then I don't, it's tough to make that excuse to where, like, oh, well, they didn't know. I mean, of course you knew. The NCAA has to have known, you know? Yeah. Like the NCAA has done a playoff system with multiple on multiple levels of college football for years now, and the fact that they're like, oh, we're just going to try with the 4 teams. No, you know this. You know there's going to be backlash after the first 4 teams. You know it's not as simple as cut as dry as that is. And if that were the case, then they would have done a 4-team system on every other level, and they didn't. You know, so I just think it's interesting. It's tough for the committee to be like, oh, we're going to put these 4 teams in. We should be putting 8 teams in, because I mean everybody, like, there's that one team that's going to be left out, and I think there's a lot less of an argument if like number 9 and 10 get left out.
Yeah,
you know,
because even if you choose every like we've been saying, if you choose every conference champion, how do you justify leaving one out if you choose conference championship?
Exactly. If you're going by that metric, yeah.
Yeah, and if you are going off that, then why are you leaving it? Then why are conference championships a thing?
Yeah.
If you win and can't get in.
Yeah.
And what was that? The thing this year that bugs me though, and I'm saying this as an SEC fan, is that Georgia and Alabama could match up in the national championship.
Yeah, as an SEC team, as 2 SEC teams. Yeah, and
exactly,
and that was the issue, especially the one year where it was LSU and Alabama, and like nobody really. It was a boring game. Nobody really wanted to see it. I mean, there was one touchdown scored, and then entire series, the entire year, because Alabama lost to LSU early on in the season.
They lost like 9-6.
Yeah, exactly. It was a terrible game. It was a terrible game. It was like the most SEC game you could ever watch. And then they went into the championship against each other, and it just wasn't fun to watch at all either.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm afraid of.
And I hope one of those teams.
I hope Clemson beats Alabama. That's because I'm saying that as a fan of not liking Alabama.
But no, and like I think it'd be exciting to see. I mean, I think this is the first time that they've actually got like the Heisman winner, and I don't know if it's gonna be Baker Mayfield, but I'm like pretty much sure it's gonna be Baker Mayfield. So I think that
Lamar Jackson made it again. I'm like,
like Lamar Jackson, Bryce Love both made it, and they're the only 3 finalists this year.
Yeah,
which makes sense. I think that's the right 3. I mean, you can't. I mean, obviously Lamar Jackson's not going to win it, but you can't really still at the same time punish him because he's on a bad team. I mean,
you can't punish individual awards for a bad team.
Yeah. I mean, because at the end of the day, like it's his individual stats that he put up, and he still threw for over 3,400 pass yards and rushed for over 1,000 yards again. So, but I mean, this year, I mean, with a winning resume and everything like that, it's gonna be Baker Mayfield. And I think it's interesting. It's gonna be fun to see. Like this, I believe that this is the actual first year of the playoffs that they're gonna have the Heisman Trophy winner in the playoffs.
Louisville didn't make it last year.
No, Louisville didn't make it last year.
Did somebody from Bama make it 2 years ago? Or anybody?
It might have been Derrick Henry. I'm wrong about that then.
And Deshaun Watson didn't win.
No, but he was up there.
Finalist.
But like I said, like the winner,
Yeah. I mean, the winner is weird because who was the last? Well, with the playoffs, it happened to fair amount before the playoffs. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
did Mariota win? Did Mariota win when they went to the playoffs?
I don't think they. Maybe. Did they make it the first year? What's the year round for the playoffs?
Yeah, because that was the year that they lost to. That was the first year of the playoffs. That was when they lost to Ohio State in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you did. Be research on the spot.
Yeah.
In case you guys haven't noticed. But yeah, while we're researching that, because we already spent 15 minutes on it. So to go to the NFL, you think the NFL has any problem with their playoff? I feel like it's a pretty good system for the amount of teams, and you get a bye, so the top teams have something to play for.
Yeah.
Like right now the Eagles are the 2 seed, even though they could have had the 1 seed in hand, and it puts more pressure on them to to get that 1 or 2 seed. Puts more pressure, and since the Steelers won last night too, for the Patriots to get the 1 seed.
Yeah, exactly.
And neck, and you want home field.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be really important. It'd be really, really interesting to see the Vikings with home field because they had the Super Bowl this year, so they'd have home field throughout the entire playoffs, assuming they make it to the Super Bowl. You know.
I saw on Reddit the other day that technically they'd be the away team though, because it's like every other year they change.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought was just the lower ranked team.
Right. Yeah, you would think that makes sense, right? I had no idea.
I was like, oh yeah, that's right. So unless everybody didn't want to admit they were wrong.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I didn't realize they did it that way. But yeah, so they technically be away, but they be home.
Yeah. But I mean, with the playoff system, it makes sense to do it record-wise in the NFL.
Because you can't, I feel like that's the hindrance with college is that it's so big. It's hard to do record-wise. You can't get a fair. Although Alabama shouldn't play Mercer, but
yeah. Like I said, it's like everybody plays like those small schools. It's just like the fact that Alabama did it as late in the season as they did. Yeah.
They did it, the week before the Iron Bowl?
Yeah, exactly. Granted, they all did that. They're like, Clemson played the Citadel the week before the in-state rivalry against South Carolina. Yeah. Auburn played like Louisiana Monroe or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it's still FBS level, but not high FBS level, So I think that's like a Sun Belt conference.
Yeah, so that's the thing. You play a decent, you play 16 games. Play out of conference games, and I think I saw the only reason the Eagles are a 2 seed and the Vikings have the 1 seed is because they went down to the 4th tiebreaker. Yeah, that's how close it was. Yeah, they didn't have any head-to-head matchups and they didn't have any mutual matchups, so they had to go strength of schedule. Which I need to get this on my chest. Redskins fans need to shut up. They were trash talking because the Eagles lost to Seattle in Seattle. Yeah. Yes, I think it's a big loss, but
just because Washington beat Seattle in Seattle.
Yeah, but they were like, "Oh, look at their schedule! They beat the Cowboys without Zeke." And I was like, "How did you guys do
against Zeke?
Not Zeke." Yeah.
Washington fans are just look for anything to cheer for, honestly, because they're usually that bad. Yeah. They're like when you're bad as an organization when your slogan is maybe next year,
Yeah, that's pretty good. But I think the NFL in general though has a fair playoff system. I don't know what I would change either. I would like it to be a little longer because I feel like
with baseball. You said with baseball?
No, with football.
Oh, football. Yeah, I would like it to be a little bit longer, but at the same time,
an extra week. But then you'd have to add 2 more teams, and then it's half the league.
Yeah,
and that's what I hate about the NBA and the NHL. Well, mainly the NBA because NHL there's a better chance of an upset.
Yeah, the NBA.
I don't want to see half the league make the playoffs.
Yeah, and especially the NBA too. NBA is there's less teams too, and there's 30
it's
teams.
More than half, right? It's
33%. Yeah, there's 32. So there's 30 teams in the league, and 16 teams make it. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, that's more than 50%.
Yeah. So and especially with with the Western Conference, I kind of understand because the Western Conference has been good for the last 4 or 5 years or 6 years or however many years that they've all had all winning records. But the Eastern Conference has been way different. Half the team after the 4th seed, all the teams 500 and below.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
And whoever the 1 seed is or 2 seed is, because just kind of walks the top seed just walk towards. There's very rarely any upsets. There's very I think the last time that an 8 upset of 1 was when the Warriors did it. The old school Warriors did it against the Mavericks. I think that was 2008.
Yeah, was that the year after the Mavericks won? Or the year before they won?
No, because. That was 2 years after the Mavericks lost in the finals to the Miami Heat. That was in 2006 when they lost to them. I was back with Shaquille O'Neal and Dwayne Wade. Yeah. And then the Mavericks were still good. The Mavericks didn't win again until 2011. Is when it was. Right. Okay. Because that was the first year of the Big 3 in Miami. And then Miami then won the next 2. Then lost to San Antonio. And then it's been Cavs Warriors ever since.
That's what I think as a commissioner. you know, if I'm, what's his name, Adam Silver, almost said David Stern, I gotta be like, hey, like, these teams are blowing the lower seeds out of the water.
Yeah.
Right? There's no upset. You know, it's like the 1 versus 16 in the
yeah.
You know, like, there's no chance of them doing it. One of my coworkers thinks that it will happen. He's like adamant about it. I'm like, no, it's not.
A 16 being a 1?
Yeah, and I was like, I don't think so. Like,
no.
Maybe in our lifetime because we're younger, but he's twice our age, and he's like, in my lifetime it'll happen. I was like, no.
Especially because those 1 seeds there's such a huge talent differential.
Yeah.
Unless somebody big gets suspended or something like that, or have like multiple injuries towards like superstars, like I don't see it happening because even the dudes that are coming off the bench at like a Kansas are gonna be better than whomever is over at like LIU Brooklyn or something like that. Right, yeah. You know, like Savannah State or something.
Right. That's the thing. Yeah. I just. We'll hold on. Yeah, but I think with NBA, we'll get into college basketball in a little bit. But with the NBA, I think you could cut down teams and go to maybe do the same thing that NBA does, 6 teams and top 2.
The NFL does, yeah. Yeah,
NFL does, right? Because I don't know if you go down to 4, even though you do play 7-game series every series.
Yeah,
you know, that's another thing too.
Yeah, that's true.
I think they could change that so the playoffs aren't 2 months long.
But like I said, and we always go back to this too. But like it's all continued to be driven by money. Like the reason why the cap is as high as it is in NBA is because they're getting crazy contracts from the ABC and ESPN and TNT and everything like that. So they're getting all those money contracts for the networking, which allows all the caps to skyrocket up. So that's how you get 4 All-Stars on one team with the Warriors. You know.
Yeah. There's a cap.
Yeah, exactly.
Like $2 million a year.
Especially because like these players have gotten so smart at recognizing that there is a cap and working around it. Yeah, so like Kevin Durant will be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sign for less so we can re-sign this, and this. But I know the cap's gonna go up next year, so I'm just gonna re-sign for like a small 1-year contract and then get like a big contract the next year when the cap goes up. You know, and they've done that. Like LeBron has done that multiple times. Like LeBron had like played 3 consecutive seasons on a 1-year deal, well, technically a 2-year deal with the option to opt out after 1 season, just so he can make sure everybody around them gets a lot of money, so that he can stack up the roster even more, and then there you go. I mean, that's what the Heat did when they first introduced like the big 3, and this is back when they weren't making anything. Like they weren't making anything. In air quotes, they like this is back. I think LeBron and Chris Bosh were getting like $119 million, which is very low compared to where contracts are right now. And then I think Dwayne Wade was making like $108 million or something like that. Was his contract. Now, Steph Curry signed a 5-year, $200 million contract. Russell Westbrook signed a $200 million contract. Yeah. James Harden signed a $243 million extension or something like that. So, like I said, there's a cap, but there's not really a cap. It's basically like you're approaching baseball numbers right now. Yeah. You know, like if the cap goes up any higher, then you're gonna be hitting baseball numbers for sure. You might as well just not even have one.
There's no point of having a cap if you could do that. Yeah, because baseball doesn't have a cap, but it also the team just don't have that much money to sign multiple.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to sign 2 Clayton Kershaws to the $250 million deal.
Right. Unless you're the Yankees, you know.
On 2 players.
Yeah.
Even the Yankees are.
That's true.
They do have far and above.
Yeah.
much more. Money.
Like the Yankees probably won't even end up getting Stanton this year.
Probably not, honestly.
It looked like they were working out a trade with the Giants.
Yeah, Giants and Cardinals, I think, are the front runners.
That's what the Cardinals were the front runners.
Also the international guy.
The pitcher / outfielder.
Yeah, the Japanese Babe Ruth.
Yeah. And there's a list of teams that are after him, like 9 to 10 teams or something like that.
Yeah, it might be down to 7 now. I don't know.
The Yankees aren't even on that list either.
Yeah, Brian Cashman, the GM, came out and was like, nope.
Which is weird because I
think the Yankees might be changing because.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it's weird because they got a pretty young team around him. Obviously they have Aaron Judge. I was about to say Aaron Boone, but that's the guy that just.
That's the manager.
So they still got Judge. Sanchez, Gary Sanchez,
Sanchez, who's only going into his 3rd year.
Didi Gregorius isn't that old of a player himself either.
Yeah.
So like it's weird to see them as like a team that's like using their farm system, you know, like it's just like, oh, we're gonna trade everybody away so we can land CC Sabathia and pay him $250 million or however much they paid him.
He's gonna be like 38.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
Who apparently only pitches well when he's fat.
Right. Yeah, but yeah, it's always gonna come down to money. That's the main point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be. Until I don't even see it not happening because money runs the world.
Right, exactly. Like I said, so at the end of the day, like when it comes to like the NBA playoffs, I mean, you can't, like, you can try and say like, oh yeah, we want to cut down to 6 teams and have the first 2 teams have a bye. Like I said, that's really tough. Like I said, there's a reason why the NBA playoffs last damn near 3 months is because they're playing 7-game series. They're not playing every night, so they're not playing back to backs. And
they rarely play back to backs.
Yeah.
And they don't schedule. It's kind of the same in any sport that does series. They don't schedule for short series, which is, I think, stupid. Like, because if you have last year, like the Warriors swept, and if you have the 2 seed sweeps,
yeah,
right, or something, you should just play like 3 days later, and not wait till when Game 7 would have been, and then wait another 2 days.
Yeah, you know? You're sorry about that. You're very right. I mean, like, I
don't think the length. I mean, it might have an effect, but I don't think the length has an effect on money that much.
You're still playing the games, right?
Yeah, you still play the same amount of games.
Like,
if you sweep and then don't play for another week, because that's what Game 7 would have been, or you just play the next series 2 days later.
Yeah. I mean, some of the money does get affected. I mean, just because you're not drawing out. There's not as much ticket sales coming into the games because, I mean, the Warriors ran through the playoffs. The Warriors went 15.
What, 17 games last year?
15 or 16.
They only played 16?
No, that's 17. You're right.
I thought
because they were 15. They had 15 straight wins before they finally lost. So they had 17 games that they played in the playoffs last year. And so did the Cavs. The Cavs only played 17 games too because they swept everybody coming up into the finals as well. Yeah. So like there was 17 games played.
Yeah.
I mean, between the 2 NBA champions, I mean, obviously other teams went to 7-game series and things like that. But at the same time, I mean, it's just, I mean, you have like some of the early series, like the series, like the 4-5 series, it gets extended out a little bit because those are 2 pretty evenly matched teams. Sometimes the 3 and 6 gets pretty intense, but you never see like the 2 and 7 is always is usually kind of a blowout sweep, and so is the 1 versus 8. So I don't know. So it's like I said, it's just what they like to do money wise, and it would make sense to schedule for short series just because, I mean, you're waiting a full week before, like they waited like almost a full week before they started the first game of the NBA Finals because, I mean, both the teams swept their opponent going into the next round.
Part of it is like, what are you going to talk about for a week? There's only so much you can talk about. You can only talk about Steph / everybody else versus LeBron. Yeah. For like so long. Then you're spending weeks talking about it.
And that's where we go back to like my hatred for like everything being overanalyzed and oversaturated and everything like that. Like I know Trevor Noah in his stand-up makes a joke about like the difference between like America and like another country, and he was talking about like watching soccer in other countries, and they're like we have no idea what's gonna happen in this game. We're just excited to watch as like the rest of the fans then these are the announcers speaking, and they're like, we're just excited to watch this game. Hope you guys are too, and they just don't analyze it. They just kind of call stuff as it happens. Like in America, what we do is we just like overanalyze everything, so we know too much. So we think that we're experts because we're watching everybody else who claim to be experts talk about all this stuff for 2 weeks straight and things like that. And we just kind of get oversaturated with it all, and just like kind of gets annoying because like we just want to watch sports, you know. We don't want to hear. I don't care about like all these small metrics, all these crazy stats and everything like that. Like, oh, Steph had a 24.2 PER rating when he went up against Isaiah Thomas last year. It's like, I wonder how the match is going to be. I mean, who knows? We'll just watch the game, you know?
Yeah, like, freaking tough. That's the thing I don't like about baseball is the sabermetrics. The dude on MLB Network, Brian Kenny, bugs me to no end because I feel like he just pulls stats out of his ass. And he's like, well, let's take a deeper look. Like, no. At what point can you just stop?
Yeah,
like,
can we just enjoy? Yeah.
He scores a fair amount of runs. He has high RBIs. Who cares if he doesn't hit well with 2 outs and a man on third?
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, how many times...
Yeah, it's like, watch out for that matchup when he, like...
Yeah.
Because, like, how many times is that going to happen in the game, you know?
Yeah. And then they build these stats in game, and it's like this season, and he has like 12 at bats.
Yeah.
It's like 12 out of how many at bats you're going to have? Like, okay, maybe you might just sacrifice that.
Like you said, it's like annoying to kind of watch all the oversaturation when it comes to stuff like that. But like I said, you're right. When it comes to like the NBA finals, it's like, oh, we're gonna talk about everything for a week. First Take's gonna go to the place. They're gonna go to Cleveland for game one of the NBA finals, or to Golden State for game one of the finals. They're gonna have live guests on. It's gonna be live and everything like that. The live guests gonna make their pick. I'm like, no, just talk about like who you think's gonna win and why, and that's all I need.
And that's it. And like during that big event, they don't talk about anything else. Like the NBA finals are in the middle of baseball season. Yeah, there could be a big trade because it's in June. You know, the trade deadline's like 6 weeks away. Yeah, they don't talk about that, and that makes me lose interest because if you can't talk about other sports, then how can I take you? And I get all of us know more about one than the other. Yeah, right, which is fair, but you should be able to talk about it. Yeah, and like I think it's also incredibly frustrating because like the NBA finals go on the exact same time as the NHL finals. Like the playoffs start basically the exact same time, and you have no idea. You don't know who's in the finals or anything like that because it just doesn't get covered, and it's like and it's like very annoying because like you want to know more about these players, except for like when like this year they kind of talked about a little bit more because there was like one black player in the finals of PK Subban. Exactly. Like then then they had this whole big 60 for 60, like ESPN 60 year and everything like that, and like that's awesome. Like I mean, like it's fun to like know more about players and things like that. But I mean, you also potentially have like one of the greatest players in the history of the game with Sidney Crosby in the finals like the last 3 years, and it doesn't get talked about. Granted, I hate Sidney Crosby. I hate him with a passion.
But like I said, like it's still be interesting to talk about, like to branch out. You know, like you said, like baseball season's going on too. But instead, it's either to talk about the finals or to talk about like what's happening with the NFL season, the off season, everything like that. Who's signing free agency wise? What happened in the draft? Yeah, it's just like half of it. Like, who's holding out and everything like that. So like and like what Kevin Durant's mom said during the finals that made LeBron James' mom mad and everything.
Here's a tweet from Marcus Vick.
It's like Marcus Vick can tweet in prison? Like, I don't know if Marcus Vick's in prison.
I remember the blog I followed. The guys at Crossing Broad, who I think I mentioned a couple times. You know, when Michael Vick was still playing, Marcus Vick would tweet stuff. And the guy was like, why? You're in no position to argue. Like, well, even Michael was falling off like the face of the earth because he slowly went down the depth chart. You know, the Jets and then someone else I think he played for.
Steelers.
And then it's like, and then you're irrelevant. You're a younger brother living off your brother's name. Yeah. Like,
with mild success at Virginia Tech. The only reason why you got a scholarship there was because your brother Michael Vick went there.
Yeah, and they thought you'd be as good as him.
And he got arrested one day because somebody stepped on his shoes at McDonald's and he pulled out a gun on him. Marcus Vick for you. That's a true story. He got drafted too, didn't he? He played the Dolphins.
To the Google.
Pretty sure he played for the Dolphins.
Doesn't even show up on Google. Doesn't even show. He's third when I type in Marcus V. There's 2 other Marcus V's before you get to Vic. That's how irrelevant you are. All right.
It was a very short tenure in NFL. Like I'm pretty sure it was the Dolphins.
2006 Miami Dolphins. 1 game played.
Yep.
No receptions, no touchdowns. Yep. He was I guess he played as...
Yeah, he's a wide receiver.
Wide receiver, not a quarterback. Yeah. Undrafted, 2006.
Yep. Sounds about right. Yeah. That was around the time when they had Pat White over there, and they thought Pat White was going to be a successful NFL quarterback. So they drafted him in the 2nd round. He quit. I think he ended up playing he was on Colorado Rockies farm system.
Yeah. He was signed to a free agent contract for league minimum as a wide receiver quarterback turned specialist, and he got released on September 2nd, but then re-signed him to the practice squad. And then in October he got signed to the team, and he was listed as the number 3 emergency quarterback. And then his first action was in December against the Jets, where he played wide receiver for the 4th quarter but had no receptions.
Yeah, sounds...
His contract expired, and the Dolphins opted not to re-sign. Anyway, he got 11 on the Wonderlic test. I made a really sarcastic face at that. I hope you guys don't take that seriously.
I mean, he's higher than Mo Claiborne's 4.
Anyway, I think that's a difference back to playoffs.
Yeah.
the difference between the NBA and the NHL, you know, they're going out at the same time and they have the same season length.
Yeah.
Is that one, the NHL goes to game 7 a fair amount, it seems like.
Oh, for sure.
The games are close. You rarely see a blowout. There's a higher chance.
And there's a lot of upsets. Yeah. Like this year, the 8th seed made it to the finals in the Predators.
The 1 seed in doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Blackhawks.
And they look dominant in doing so. Like I said, it's so fun to watch because like you really don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
you don't know. Fast. Yeah, like you said, the Blackhawks were the 1 seed, but they got swept in the first round by the 8th seed. Like that's like that never happens in any kind of NBA circles. Like I said, I'm a big fan of NBA. I'm a big fan of NBA playoffs and things like that. But at the same time, like I kind of want to see like a competitive series, like series by series, game by game, and that's what I get. And that's what I get whenever you watch the NHL playoffs. And the sad thing is, like I don't know enough about these players or anything like that to like kind of form an opinion on who I should be cheering for because I don't know enough because there's not enough coverage about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People say, Colin Cowherd said on a show today that something the NHL will never be as big, even though it's a pretty good sport.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if people cover it, it might be.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't do that. You can't just ignore something and say, oh, it'll never be as big.
Yeah.
Well,
it's never been given a chance to be as big.
Show interest, and you have more than one NHL analyst.
Yeah. On ESPN, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you got to be you got to be more dimensional when it comes to like what you cover. If you're a big network, like a big sports network, like NBC, like ESPN, like Fox, and everything like that. I mean, like I said, I know they have the contract with NBC. The NHL does, but I mean that's about it.
But still, there's no like.
I mean, they have that, and they have the NHL TV, which sometimes plays games.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the NFL. NFL has 4 different networks in which they play sports on. They have Fox, CBS, ESPN, NBC, and sometimes 5. Sometimes they have half the games on NFL Network too.
/ Amazon Prime.
Yeah, / Amazon Prime, exactly. Even the NBA has ESPN, ABC, even though those are basically the same network, but still
they're owned by Disney.
Yeah. And TNT, and then they also have NBA TV as well.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I think most sports have their own network. Even tennis has a network.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing I don't like about MLB does it, and I think the NHL did it too last year, starting 2 years ago. They're showing 1 or 2 playoff games / series on the network, and especially nowadays with the cord cutters. Right?
Not everybody. I mean, not everybody has those stations.
Last year, like this last season, I didn't have it, and this year, like for the MLB playoffs, I didn't have the game. And 1 or even 2 of the games was on MLB Network. I don't have it. Like, I can't watch a playoff game. Like, so. But yeah, I think that'll. The only thing about hockey, though, trying to get back on subject.
Yeah.
Is I'm not a fan of the conference realignment and how it's
very confusing.
It's weird to try to figure out because it wasn't last year. I think it was 2 years ago when the Flyers made a push, and I was trying to figure out what they would do and what team they would play, and I was like, so it's the 1 and 2 seed, or no, the 2 plays the 3 seed and something like that.
It's very weird. It's very confusing.
The wild card teams play each other, and I don't know. Like I'm gonna look it up on the app because I have no idea how the playoffs work until I see it. It's hard for me. Like baseball, no, I can. Every other sport, I can be.
Literally every other sport, you have an idea.
But they realigned the conferences and then changed how you get into the playoffs. So you have 2 wildcard teams,
and they play each other. 2 wildcard teams.
It's 2 teams from each division, and then the 2 wildcard teams.
Okay.
But I think the wildcard teams play each other, which is stupid. Because right now it's in the Eastern Conference. It's the Penguins and the Caps are the 2 wildcard teams, and then you have see that even the app doesn't show. It shows the division, and then it shows the wildcard. Because there's only 4 divisions now. So I think it's top 3 from each division.
So it's 6. That makes sense. 2 wildcards.
Yeah, because I know it's 8 teams, but like. What?
Yeah, like I said, and that's an issue. Like, especially for your casual fan, and you don't really know. You just kind of want to watch because it's something exciting to watch. I know that's kind of. I mean, I'm that kind of hockey fan. Like
I've gotten more, but I'm still pretty casual.
Yeah, exactly.
Compared to like Ryan.
Yeah, exactly. Where like he will know that all the ins and outs of the different players and everything like that, and I know very little.
Yeah,
I know about the Capitals and like a couple other teams, like some of the players outside of the Capitals, and that's really about it.
Yeah, and I know some. I mainly got into NHL by playing NHL.
Yeah.
It's such a fun game.
That's how a lot of people get into soccer because they play FIFA.
Well, that's the thing to get into soccer. Like, I don't know how the MLS playoffs work. I honestly apparently the MLS Cup is like this weekend.
Really? Who knew?
Right.
Honestly, I had no idea.
To me. It's kind of like the WNBA. It's like, oh.
Right. It's like, oh, is the finals going on right now? I had no idea.
When did they start?
Yeah. Because, like, well, the WNBA is, like, weird because they'll have, like, games in the middle of the week at the middle of the day and stuff like that.
But I know, like, I don't know much about it, so I don't know if I'll spend that much time talking about it. But I know, like, the European leagues go by points.
Yeah.
And then you, like, win based off of the points you have or something like that. And it's just like, what, you gonna play each other in the playoffs? Like... But then again, maybe the Europeans, they find us weird.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, I'm trying to explain American stuff.
But what else are we going to talk about? Baseball, I guess, right?
Yeah, baseball. I think baseball is similar to hockey, that it's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know, like the Royals one I'm pretty sure has a wild card team.
I believe so.
And somebody else one has a wild card team. The Marlins, their only 2 world championships were from being a wild card team. Obviously before the
play-in game.
The current,
yeah.
They've never won a division title. They have 2 World Series and no division titles.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty funny.
Fun fact about the Marlins.
But I think we talked about on this podcast.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think we've touched
on prior episodes about.
I think that it should be a best of 3.
Yeah, in the wild card series.
Yeah, but I think they got it right in expanding it to 2 wild cards.
I would definitely agree. That makes it's very exciting. Like I said, obviously bringing a lot of money, and it gets the casual fans into the game as well. Like I'll watch the wild card games too. I'm not a huge baseball fan by any means, but I'll watch because it's like really exciting to watch, and it's just like very fun. It's kind of a good atmosphere and things like that.
I love playoff baseball.
Yeah.
And I think it's not too many teams either.
Mm-hmm.
It's only 10 teams out of 32. I think there's 32 teams. Might be 30. But still, only 10. You know, a third of your league makes it, which is fine. You know.
I like that number.
Yeah, you know, and it's not too long. You know, they play back to back and then they'll take a day off.
Yeah.
Play back to back and take a day off. You know, so
their
pro season is like 6 weeks. You know,
and it's interesting. I like the way that I like playoff baseball because it's very different. It's very interesting because you know they'll like how a lot of times they just kind of abandon the bullpen when it comes to like playoff baseball.
Yeah.
And they'll just go with like another starting pitcher and then like in
the
yeah, exactly. Verlander, like I remember in the closeout game with the Astros versus the Yankees, and game 7, they went the Astros went with Lance McCullers through most of the game. He wasn't the starter, he got the save, and I think that's always fun. It's really interesting that they have no real reliever; they just go back to another starting pitcher.
I think he started game 6 too, because there was a chance. This is why I personally love baseball, because there's always something that could happen.
Yeah,
like in basketball, you don't really have, and even in football too. There's not too many historic things that happen anymore, just because it's been around for so long.
Yeah.
But with baseball, it could have been Lance McCullers could have been the first player ever to have a save and be the winning pitcher for the World Series. But then they lost Game 6.
Yeah,
that's the game we started. You know, and I was watching Game 6 here, and I was like, oh man, that's interesting. And then I started cheering for him because I wanted to see that happen.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I think he saved Game 4 or 5, and then I don't know. And then they brought him in again. Yeah, that's the thing, because with other sports, you're so used to playing every day.
Yeah.
You know, and you play your position all the time. Baseball's weird like that, where you have starters, but then you're like 2014 when the Giants won and Bumgarner got the save in Game 7, and they're like, well, he's not going to play anymore. Put him in the 5th inning and have him pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
He shut him down. Yeah.
So like I said, I always find that fun and interesting to watch, just because it's like I said, it's a very exciting atmosphere. I'm not I don't really, usually the Orioles don't make it, so I don't really I'm just kind of cheering for tradition. Like I cheered for the Cubs a couple years ago because they hadn't won in so long, and this year 108 years, and this year I was cheering for the Astros because of Hurricane Harvey, and they had never won either.
Hard to not cheer for the Astros.
Yeah.
Especially when the MVP is 5'6".
Yeah. And it was cut by the Astros 3 times and had to try out and everything like that. And was first signed like a $15,000 contract or something. So that's fun. Like I enjoy stories like that, you know. Like he's the MVP and he beat out Aaron Judge, who's 6'8", and he's the MVP. He was 5'6", basically mini me. Like it's awesome. Like that's awesome. Like just to see like a regular looking dude like win, do well and do like hit multiple home runs throughout the playoffs and in the World Series and like become MVP. And obviously what Springer was the World Series MVP, wasn't it? George Springer.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you get that in football. Sometimes that's a story of Brady is coming in.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get that like no name guy, and then you play. You have I don't know how well he'll do in the long run, but Corey Clement on the Eagles right now.
Yeah.
You know his he went to Glassboro High School, and Glassboro is a town next to Deptford.
Yeah.
And he's playing for the Eagles.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. He was undrafted. He went to Wisconsin.
Yeah. Wisconsin undrafted.
Yeah, because he was running back there after Melvin Gordon. I remember him being good, Corey Clement. Like he was good. He was never able to stay healthy, and he was kind of a little bit on the smaller side too. But he was a good back. I remember him.
They seem to be utilizing him well this year.
Yeah,
they have 4 running backs.
Yeah,
three or four. 3.
Well, I mean, because
they have Blunt, Ajayi, Clement, sometimes Kenyon Barner.
Yeah, sometimes Kenyon Barner.
No, he's more of a special teams guy
sometimes now. Wendell Smallwood. They had Darren Sproles earlier on in the season.
Yeah, they had. Do they still have Smallwood?
Yeah, I think he's just been injured.
Oh, probably. Sounds about right. See, as soon as I type in Wendell, he's the first guy to come up.
Not a lot of famous Wendells that I know about.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair too. And I'm older
than Wendell Smallwood?
Yeah. He was born in 94.
So the same age as me. He went to West Virginia.
Yeah, I think he's still, it's all,
yes,
all those pictures are Eagles, so.
They're going Patriots method and just running with the 18 different running backs.
Yeah. I think they only have one, I think it was a stat I just saw in the last game. They only have one running back broke 100 yards this year or something like that.
Really?
Just because
because they would just move them out or move them around a lot.
And it's hard to defend. Imagine going from defending Blunt to Ajayi to Clement.
Yeah, all really different running styles, yeah.
Sproles, too, defending Sproles. Yeah,
I mean, people have been trying to figure out for 15 years how to defend Sproles.
Yeah, I love imagine if he went.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you an Altuve equivalent?
Yeah, right. Really though.
Yeah.
So I think with NCAA basketball, we've had issues with that. We've talked about that on previous episodes as well.
Yeah, I think they just need to cut it down. I think they need to get rid of the playoff games and they need to get rid of the 16 seeds.
So you just have the 1 seeds have buys.
I think 32. Well, see, that's where the line is because 15 seeds sometimes beat the 2 seed. That's happened a fair amount.
Yeah, recently. Florida Gulf Coast beat Georgetown not too long ago as a 15 seed. And, 14 seeds beat 3 seeds. What Mercer just beat Duke a few years ago.
Yeah, and it's hard to.
Yeah, so it's hard to get
like
even those games aren't really guaranteed. So that's where the argument could come in where people would be like, a 15 is beating a 2, so maybe a 16 could be the 1. But I don't think it'll happen. And then watch it happen this year, and then we're like, oh, again, we saw it coming.
And that's the thing. I don't think they should have to play in games. I mean, they're fun, but it's also you have 2 teams that nobody knows about each other to get beat by 1 seed. Yeah. Maybe the 11 seed makes a run. I think VCU made a run a couple years ago. I was playing team, but they're one out of how many?
Yeah, VCU always does well, even after losing Shaka Smart, they are still doing well.
Yeah, so that's what college basketball. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I
get rid of the. That's all I'm saying. Just get rid of the playing games.
Yeah, there's not.
I think that's the only fix I'll make with them.
Yeah, because if you are going to do the playing games, I give them all 16 seeds, and I think I've said that, and I give them all 16 seeds because 16 seeds is not going to be the 1 seed, but it'd be nice to have a 16 seed at least get a win in the tournament, Yeah. I just find that fun. Like I said, because I hate having those 11 seeds because I don't know, I don't know who's going to win because that 1-11 seed could be having a bad night and then lose to the other 11 seeds. So say VCU lose to the Butler or something like that, and Butler just and I think VCU can beat the 6th seed, and then they just don't or something like that, and it's like I don't like that. Just give me, and plus on top of that, I only really like the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament in basketball because that's when all the games is really exciting. They all come, they're all different all throughout the day and everything like that. Once it starts getting more intense, you kind of weed out all the upsets and things like that. All Cinderella stories get thrown out. It's no man, this isn't as fun anymore. Like,
yeah, I know. And then you're down to like 2 games a day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I had to wait, and I was like, no, give me back-to-back games. I want to see a little ticker on the top telling me what scores, what station that they're on, and everything like that. Give me that.
Where to switch to? That's what becomes a blowout.
Yeah.
Like I'll probably watch like Florida's game because I'm a Florida fan.
That was a bad loss last night.
I saw it yesterday. I was like, I was tempted to tweet out Titus. the what the foop. I was too tired though. I was like, yeah, like I think that's I like watching the NCAA because like in college it was always spring break.
Yeah.
So I would have that first weekend.
Oh yeah, like I'd be back home and I'd just like post it up. Yeah.
And then when I discovered I can watch stuff on my computer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was game over after that. It was a wrap.
I watched 2 games at once.
Yeah.
What?
Flipping back and forth and everything. You can do on an app too. Like I know you can do it through Chrome. Like you can connect them on Chromecast and everything.
Yeah, Chromecast one and have another one out.
Yep.
I watched that because we had a bet guy push at work.
Yeah.
Right? And it was between the 3 of us and my department. You know, and I kept it running throughout when I was teaching too. I couldn't watch it because it was in the office. I wasn't watching while teaching. I want to clarify that. But I would leave it running in the office and then like check on it in between classes. I was like, oh, they're winning. Oh, then my lunch break and prep period just up. You know. It's always St. Patrick's Day too.
Yeah, it is always St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, exactly. It's a good time. Said it's like St. Patrick's Day too. It's always nice too because my bracket gets blown up and I'm like, oh, I guess I'll just go out and drink then. That's fine. I'll just go have 9 green beers and we'll call it a day.
That's what happened on my first year at Towson. We had a bracket up on the floor, but we went. It was the second weekend we went up because it was spring break, so most of us were home. But the second weekend, we had a bracket up on the floor, and we were moving it as the teams won, and we all went out, and then like me and like 2 other guys are just watching. Everybody else is dancing and drinking. This was the weekend after St. Patrick's Day, so it wasn't as crazy, but. And then we're just in the corner like, what's going on? There's still late games in the second weekend, Let's
go to those West Coast games in the West bracket.
It was like they needed to miss the foul shot.
Uh-huh.
It was one of those scenarios to run out the clock. That's when you miss. Right?
Yeah.
And they were already up, or they needed time, whatever the scenario was. But like everybody knew except the one person in the group, and I said to myself, I was like, all right, you miss it, and then you could continue to play. And then he missed it, and then my friend's like, wait, why do you do that? Like, get the points. I was like, no. Come on, man, that's a strategy. Yeah. So, but it was just funny that there was like 3 or 4 of us just at the bar watching. It's like the Lego movie.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that. Oh, man. That's good.
That brings us to 59 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I think we covered all of them. I think college obviously has the most to fit. If we were to rank them with most to least to fix, I think general between the 2 of us would be college or college football, NBA, college basketball.
Yeah.
NHL, MLB. Kind of together, and then that's about it.
I saw this stat going back on our what we fixed about college. We were paying college athletes.
Yeah.
So just off of college coaches got fired, their buyouts, all the coaches collectively, their buyouts ended up being about $54 million.
Jeez.
Just the buyouts.
Yeah.
And I saw a stat that if you gave that to players, if you gave that to every single player in the top 25, they could all get $180,000. That's insane.
That's absurd. Yeah.
Just off the buyouts, but there's no money to pay the players.
Yeah, I saw something I heard on the radio. Chip Kelly has signed a total since he signed with the Eagles in 2013. Since he signed, counting his UCLA contract, signed a total of 20-year contracts.
Nice,
right? And it's
coach for 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah, he signed. I think he signed 4 years with the Eagles, and he got fired in his 3rd year. And then he signed probably a 2 or 3 year deal with the Niners. But
he got fired after 1 season. Yeah,
and then he took it like. That's what somebody. I think
he took a year off and was on ESPN.
Yeah, But it was just coaching contracts. It wasn't like ESPN or anything else. It was just it was like 20 years of coaching contracts.
Then a 10-year, $75 million contract for Jimbo.
Yeah. Oh,
that's insane.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. So I think that's it for this episode 11.
Yeah. Question mark?
Yeah. We'll figure it out. Maybe. We got the background for SportsSqwad is different than Squadcast.
Yeah.
So hopefully you've been watching it by this point.
Yeah, we're finally getting that episode posted up now too.
Yeah. So all right. That is it for playoffs. Let us know what you think. Comment, like, share stuff. I don't know.
Tweet,
Yeah, tweet, Snapchat, Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't know. Do what you need to do, and let us know what you're doing. It's been me and Kelvin, and Squad out.